Hi guys, I'm with Kathleen Wright, who is the founder and CEO of Peace & Co., which is a social business that I work with, and she's here to explain to us exactly what she does and how she got started. So thank you so much for joining me. And if we can just get into exactly what it is that you do and how you found out that that could even be a career.
Yep. Peace & Co. is a social enterprise that connects artisans in the developing world to brands who are looking to source socially impactful products. Artisan cooperatives in our network, before we start working with them, typically they have work that sustains them for 45 to 55% of the year, which is not really enough to move them away from the poverty line, and our goal is to bring them more work than that. So on average, the artisan groups that we work with work 80 to 85% of the year, which is enough to keep them saving money, nutritious food on the table, ensure that their children stay in school, all of those things that are actually impacting their lives and moving them away from the poverty line.
So can you tell us how you started your business?
Yep. I was working in the private sector. I loved my job in business, but I had this feeling that I wanted to work with women in the developing world. I started it after spending about 4.5 years working with women in the developing world, specifically women artisans, and really spending time figuring out what they needed. And what I found was that they needed sustainable employment more than anything else. So I wanted to launch an organization that would bring sustainable employment to artisan cooperatives.
How does someone go about doing that?
I did have an idea that the fashion industry would be interested in this. I think the fashion industry is amazing. It has the ability to make such a big impact on the lives of people around the world. And it's also made up of amazing powerhouse women like you who actually are interested in women in other countries in the developing world. And so those two things together made me think there could be potential for a really big impact to happen here.
Had you worked in fashion? Did you have friends that worked in fashion?
No and no, which was another very scary thing. And definitely the first 6 months I just spent calling people, a lot of doors slammed in my face, a lot of phone calls that ended very quickly. But every time I did that, I learned a little bit more of what people might be looking for in the fashion industry. And anytime you got a yes or even like a warm no, I knew that I was onto something. Once I started to get a positive response, I really quickly moved fast trying to launch the business.
So the money from the pouches and the iPad covers and the iPhone cases, they're fun and they're bright and they're happy, but they are conscious choices.
They are. We ask every woman that we work with, what do you do with the income that you earn from this collaboration? And across the board, 100% of the women say, we keep our children in school and we keep nutritious food on the table.
I love that.
The amazing thing about these bags is just this small collaboration is employing more than 75 women in the developing world, but the impact goes much deeper than that because it impacts their children, it impacts their communities. So these bags are directly impacting more than 300 people in the developing world. Social enterprise is all about solving the world's biggest problem. So you have to be passionate about it and you have to lead with that passion. My passion is providing sustainable employment to women in the developing world. So everything I do throughout the day and every decision I make, I'm thinking of that first. I think another tip is you have to stay really close to the problem that you're solving. So there's a lot to do in a month, but I make sure that at least once a quarter I visit the developing world, spend time with the women that we're working with, hear what their needs are, making sure that we're having the impact that we set out to have is really important. Third, a social enterprise is still a business, and we always say you have to be in business to have an impact, so you have to really understand your customer and make sure that you're creating a business that is not just impactful, but also is sustainable. I think another good tip is to try to quiet the voices in your head that are telling you fearful things that might get in the way of actually having the impact that you want to have. And then I think the last one is just be authentic. This is about improving the world, and people want to connect with real people when they're trying to solve big problems. So the more authentic you can be, I think that the better it is for business.
One of the best things that I can do, and I have a dream job, I love what I do, is to provide jobs for artisans. And you make it almost seamless. And I appreciate you for that. And I thank you.
Thank you.